Most people believe they're making smart financial decisions. They pay their bills on time, avoid obvious splurges, and tell themselves they'll start saving more next year. But beneath the surface, silent mistakes are quietly stealing years from their future. These aren't dramatic failures or reckless spending sprees. They're subtle choices that compound over time, turning what could have been financial freedom into decades of playing catch-up. The invisible cost of waiting. Time is the most powerful force in building wealth, yet it's the one asset most people waste without realizing it. When someone in their 20s decides to delay investing because they feel they don't have enough money to make a difference, they're making a mistake that will cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars by retirement. The mathematics are brutal and unforgiving. Consider two individuals who both decide to invest in their retirement. The first starts at age 25, contributing just $200 per month. The second waits until age 35 to begin, also contributing $200 monthly. Both maintain this habit until age 65, investing the same amount each month with similar returns. By retirement, the person who started 10 years earlier will have accumulated roughly twice as much wealth as the late starter, despite contributing only $60,000 more over those extra 10 years. This dramatic difference isn't magic. It's compound growth doing what it does best when given time to work. When investments generate returns, those returns begin generating their own returns. This snowball effect grows exponentially larger the longer it runs. Starting at 25 versus 35 isn't just about 10 extra years of contributions. It's about giving those early contributions decades to multiply and compound. A dollar invested at 25 has 40 years to grow before retirement. That same dollar invested at 35 has only 30 years. The real tragedy is that many people delay investing not because they can't afford to start, but because they underestimate the value of small beginnings. They tell themselves they'll wait until they earn more, until they pay off debt, until life settles down. Meanwhile, the most valuable asset they have continues slipping away. Someone who waits until age 40 to start investing would need to contribute more than double the monthly amount just to catch up to where they'd be if they had started at 25 with modest contributions. This isn't just about retirement accounts. The principle applies to any long-term financial goal. Time transforms small, consistent actions into substantial results. Every year someone delays taking their financial future seriously is a year they can never recover. The opportunity cost is measured not just in missed contributions, but in the exponential growth those contributions would have generated over decades. The lifestyle trap that grows with your paycheck. There's a peculiar phenomenon that keeps people trapped in financial mediocrity even as their income rises. It starts innocently enough. After landing a promotion or switching to a higher paying job, people naturally want to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They upgrade their apartment to a nicer neighborhood. They lease a newer car with better features. They start dining at restaurants they once considered too expensive. Each decision feels justified in isolation. This gradual expansion of spending as income increases creates a financial treadmill that's remarkably difficult to escape. What begins as modest lifestyle improvements quickly becomes the new normal. The fancy coffee that was once an occasional treat becomes a daily necessity. The subscription services pile up until monthly costs rival a car payment. The vacation budget creeps higher each year because last year's destinations now feel inadequate. The insidious nature of lifestyle inflation is that it rarely feels irresponsible in the moment. People aren't buying things they can't afford. They're simply spending within their means as those means expand. The problem is that their means expand vertically while their spending expands horizontally, consuming every new dollar that comes in. Someone earning $30,000 more per year than they did 5 years ago often finds themselves with the same amount left over at the end of each month, or sometimes even less. This pattern destroys wealth-building potential in two ways. First, it prevents people from directing additional income toward investments and savings that would compound over time. Second, it locks them into higher fixed costs that become difficult or impossible to reduce. The bigger apartment comes with a lease. The nicer car comes with higher insurance premiums and maintenance costs. These aren't discretionary expenses that can be easily cut during lean times. They're permanent obligations that must be maintained. The opportunity cost is staggering. Someone who gets a raise of $500 per month and immediately increases their spending by that same amount has just traded potential long-term wealth for temporary lifestyle upgrades. Over 30 years, that $500 invested monthly at modest returns could grow into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Instead, it evaporates into marginally nicer daily conveniences that provide diminishing returns on happiness. Breaking free from lifestyle inflation requires intentionality that most people never develop. It means making the conscious choice to maintain spending levels even as income rises, directing the surplus toward future wealth instead of present consumption. It means resisting social pressure to keep up with peers who are caught in the same trap. Most importantly, it means recognizing that true financial progress isn't measured by the quality of possessions today, but by the options and freedom those choices preserve for tomorrow. The small leaks sinking your financial ship, while delayed investing and lifestyle inflation represent major structural problems. Smaller financial mistakes act like slow leaks that steadily drain resources. These errors seem minor in isolation, but accumulate into significant damage over years and decades. The absence of an emergency fund creates a cascading series of financial problems. Without savings to cover unexpected expenses, people resort to credit cards when the car breaks down or medical bills arrive. This high-interest debt then becomes its own burden, requiring minimum payments that could have been directed toward building wealth. The cycle perpetuates itself as each new emergency drives people deeper into debt, making it progressively harder to break free. Credit card mismanagement extends beyond emergencies. Carrying balances month to month means paying interest rates that often exceed 20% annually. Someone maintaining a $5,000 balance at these rates pays over $1,000 yearly just in interest charges. That's money that produces nothing, builds nothing, and simply transfers wealth to credit card companies. Over a decade, the same person will have paid more than $10,000 in interest alone, not counting the opportunity cost of what that money could have earned if invested instead. The failure to track spending creates blind spots that bleed money in ways people don't recognize. Small subscriptions accumulate until they represent hundreds of dollars monthly. Convenience purchases and impulse buys add up to thousands annually. Without visibility into where money actually goes, people consistently overestimate their savings and underestimate their spending. This lack of awareness makes it impossible to make informed decisions about financial priorities. Many people overlook the importance of optimizing their largest expenses. Housing costs that consume 40% of income instead of 30% represent thousands of dollars annually that could have been directed elsewhere. Financing purchases that could have been bought with cash creates ongoing payment obligations and interest costs. Insurance policies purchased without comparison shopping often cost significantly more than necessary. Each of these individually might seem like a minor inefficiency, but collectively they represent a substantial drag on financial progress. The mistake of not educating oneself about basic financial concepts perpetuates all other mistakes. Without understanding how compound growth works, the urgency of starting early never becomes clear. Without recognizing the patterns of lifestyle inflation, people remain trapped in cycles they don't even realize exist. Financial literacy isn't taught in most schools, which means people must seek it out deliberately or remain vulnerable to costly errors throughout their lives. Perhaps the most damaging mistake is treating future self as a separate person who will somehow have more discipline, more income, and fewer obstacles. The belief that financial responsibility can be deferred until circumstances are more favorable virtually guarantees those favorable circumstances will never arrive. Every year spent waiting is a year that compounds the difficulty of achieving financial security. The path forward, these silent financial mistakes share a common thread. They're all choices that feel reasonable or even necessary in the present moment, but extract an enormous cost over time. The person who delays investing because they're focused on immediate concerns. Professional who inflates their lifestyle because they've earned it. The consumer who doesn't track spending because budgeting feels restrictive. None of these people believe they're making critical errors. They're just living their lives, making decisions that seem to make sense. The transformation from financial struggle to financial security doesn't require dramatic action or perfect decisions. It requires awareness of these patterns and the willingness to make different choices. Starting small beats waiting for perfect conditions. Maintaining spending discipline as income rises beats temporary lifestyle upgrades. Paying attention to where money goes beats operating on assumptions and hope. Financial freedom isn't built through one brilliant investment or one perfect decision. It's built through the compound effect of many small, consistent choices made over years. The opposite is also true. Financial struggle isn't typically created by one catastrophic mistake. It's created through the compound effect of many small, silent errors made over years. The difference between these outcomes isn't luck or income level. It's awareness of which patterns lead where, and the discipline to choose differently. The years these mistakes cost aren't coming back, but the years ahead remain unwritten, waiting for better choices to shape them.